A motivational piece from Reddit you need to hear. If you struggle with staying motivated, read this. Join if you've ever struggled with maintaining motivation to change your life. I want you to read this. Improve your health, become more disciplined, pursue your dreams, break a bad habit, anything. It'll only take 1 minute of your time, and the value you'll gain will save you millions more minutes, I promise. Questioning motivation. If I have your attention, do me a favor. Think back to the last time you were motivated to do something. It doesn't matter what you were motivated for. It could have been to take the trash out. The point is to recall the last time you were putting something off, over and over again. Always promising yourself you'd get to it just later. Finally going to the gym and eating healthier. Finally taking school seriously and studying like you never had before. Finally breaking your addiction to porn, cigarettes, alcohol, or food. Finally putting the time in to look for a job. Finally taking that step to becoming more social and extroverted. Finally taking the time to clean your apartment, bathroom, or room. Finally taking the initiative to wash all your clothes. Finally stepping up to take the trash out. Do you remember why you got so fired up, so motivated to finally make a change, take that action, make that jump? When before, all you did was put it off, promising yourself you'd start tomorrow. Do you know why you finally made the choice to say no and get your ass moving? More importantly, do you ever wonder why you can't get back to that point? You search and search for different motivational methods to get inspired enough to get back to that mindset you had once before. When nothing could take you off the path of success. When you felt invincible, as if someone finally woke you up to your purpose and all was clear. That feeling is pretty elusive. For a lot of people, myself included, we only get those huge surges of motivation once every few months. When we're forced to sit down and look at our life and realize we aren't where we want to be. We aren't happy, we aren't fulfilled. We're in pain of our circumstances and so desperately want to change, it hurts. Well, it wasn't the combination of words from that speech you were listening to on YouTube. Though, if we're honest, those words were pretty inspiring and encouraging. It wasn't that song you were listening and bumping to, that did it either. Though you'd love to hear that song again, just in case. It wasn't the chapter in that self-help book you read and totally resonated with. Though damn, you felt so understood. That surely had to be it. It wasn't even that talk you had with that important person in your life. Though you really should get together and talk with them again. The secret, what got you motivated enough to take action, was your imagination. Oh God, this guy's on some woohoo mystical bullshit. That's a fair opinion to have. But for those of you that haven't clicked away, do me another favor. If you can, try and remember what your thoughts looked like when you were deeply motivated. Not when you were promising yourself to do that thing, only to procrastinate until it was too late. Remember what your thoughts looked like just before you got highly driven and finally took the actions towards improving. The thoughts you had while listening to that speech, listening to that song, reading that book, speaking with that friend. The words, lyrics, or beats themselves weren't what motivated you. It was what you were envisioning in your head while doing those things. You thought about how unhappy you were with your current life. You thought about all the changes you wanted in your life. You thought about how much better your life could be. You thought about all the things holding you back. You thought about the steps you'd need to take to achieve that change. And more powerful than that, you imagined and envisioned in your head. You imagined what your life looked like after you succeeded. You imagined how your friends and family would react. You imagined how you'd get all the girls/guys. You imagined how your lifestyle would change. You saw, in your imagination, the life you wanted. You were in your own head, creating the motivation you needed within yourself. By reflecting over your own emotions, feelings, and desires. That's why you have such a hard time getting motivated and only seem to be truly driven and inspired once every couple of months. Because normally, you're simply looking for a band-aid, for a quick fix solution, a new method you haven't tried yet. Because while you know in the back of your mind you want more, you aren't focused on it truly. It's only during those deep, dark periods when something drastic happens to you. You get a notice from the doctor about your health and your life is in danger. You run out of money and don't know if you'll be able to pay bills this month. Your relationship is crumbling and you fear you'll never find someone to love you. Nothing is going right for you, and life is constantly beating you down. You're forced to look at your life, to reflect on all your past decisions, to truly weigh where your life is at. And you aren't happy, you aren't satisfied with your circumstances, you aren't proud of what you reflect upon. You thought you'd have had more, achieved more, created more, shared more, expressed more, lived more. It's in these moments that we're truly motivated to change, to finally take action towards our own improvement and development. Not because of a speech, of a song, of a book, or a conversation. Not in themselves, at least. It's what they cause you to feel, to think, to imagine. Motivation only works when you anchor it with what you truly want for yourself. And not only that, but by then envisioning how your life can change, what your new lifestyle is like, and what steps you need to take in order to achieve that success. Most importantly, motivation only works when you continuously reflect on those visions. If you only reflect once every few months, when you're truly down and beaten, you'll only feel that drive once every few months. However, if you fueled your soul with that passion and drive to succeed, each and every day, imagine how your entire life would change.